Hey, we're running late and I hate to run late, so we're gonna go forward. So we do have a quorum.
Yes, we do.
Okay, and I have to do AB for,
It's not back on yet, so we'll come back to.
okay, welcome back, Cedric. He's gonna be on Zoom. Agenda was posted.
Yes,
Say it one more time.
Announcements of any changes?
no changes, just in case anybody needs all the attached supplementals that came out on Friday from Natalie. They're all here if you need them.
Okay, public comments. Any public comment? I don't see anybody. Okay. Consent calendar.
Move to approve.
I have one to approve.
Okay.
I have a second.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's go to action items.
And David, you can do office move.
Yes.
Okay, action items, we're gonna do 4E, office move.
Okay, so as you know, we are going to be moving offices. We are, the lease has been signed for the new office. We met with their construction team last week or the week before.
I think it was the week before.
They are committed to meeting the July 1st commencement date. There is an opportunity, hopefully, for the boardroom space to be ready for us to move in a little bit earlier than that. But they are still confident that July 1st will hold for both units regardless. Obviously, things can happen that might delay that, but as of right now, July 1st is the expected commencement date for the new lease. In your packet today, we have a few proposals. One of which is, and I think that one was, I'll get to that one separately, actually, it's a separate item.
Yeah.
One of the proposals is for janitorial services. At that, the new unit or the new building, they do not include in-suite janitorial services as part of the rental rate, like we have here. We have to contract out for that service. The other proposal is for movers. We're recommending Mover Services, Inc. That's who we utilized last time. They were very professional, came in under budget, and did a really good job overall of moving us out of the old place and into the new place. The proposal is a range, depending on if we need to go into storage or not. The 6,900 is a direct move from here to the new office, and the 93 is factoring in a month of potential storage. Third proposal is for decabling this unit. All of the wires in the walls, the Ethernet cables need to be pulled out before we move. And so there's a proposal in from one of Sharp's vendors for that service. And then the fourth one is Xerox relocation. Obviously a complex piece of machinery that we don't want to have just the regular movers do. So our contractor that we get the actual device from will be facilitating the move from here and set up in the new place. We're also asking for approval to have staff further evaluate the internet connections opportunities that we have at the new building. We're not quite nailed down on which one we're going to go with yet, but as of right now, we were probably going to be going with essentially what's called the best. What do we call it? It's not dedicated fiber like we have here, where you're guaranteed. We're going to try kind of with the regular service, business services from either AT&T or Spectrum, and see how our systems work on it. The good thing with that service is that it's month to month, and so if for some reason it's not working right, we can.
Is that what everybody in the?
Yeah, they use AT&T or Spectrum, and so we're gonna just figure out which one's obviously the lowest cost and best service for
Right.
that cost. We will be looking at furniture over the next month, so we can get the boardroom set up and the offices that will need new furniture in them. As of right now, we are anticipating the board meeting for June to be offsite. I've got a request into Torrance to see if the library community room is available. If I don't hear back from them in time, we will be asking Gardena or one of the others, Redondo Beach maybe, if a meeting room is available there. There may be an opportunity if move-in date is early enough in June for the boardroom space and we can get the IT equipment all figured out, that we can have a regular board meeting there. But stay tuned on that. We don't want to make any promises yet. We will be coming back next month with a cabling request for the new office. We're gonna do some cost savings and not cable the entire unit like we did here. We've moved to a primarily laptop-based system, so we don't need plugs in every office. We need it in certain areas, like for the board equipment, for the Xerox machine, certain areas.
Certain staff.
Certain staff have desktop or higher bandwidth needs for the devices, so we will have a proposal for that next month. And I think that's pretty much it on the move.
And some furniture we might wait on, not the boardroom, but some office, and the offices will have desks. Some of the other kinds of like storage systems and things like that we might need for our outreach team. We're gonna wait till we move in and see how the space feels and what seems like it might work best. So some of that might come like, July or August.
Right.
What's the absolute move out date here? You have to be out.
June 30th.
Yeah, June 30th.
Okay, so you're out here on June 30th, then it's,
Yeah. And for the outreach team, right, because they have all those materials, the idea is that those items would then go into the downstairs space so that people don't have to take stuff to like their garages and things like that and be packing for events out of their garages. So that team will probably come in and be able to do some stuff from there too. So that should work out really good.
I would ask for
We need a motion to recommend this to the board.
so move, Mr. Chair.
Second. Go ahead, first and second.
Opposition? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so the next one is IT, and that one was part of the supplemental items that were handed out. Is.
Everybody get one?
So it's
Hold on, sorry.
okay, so the proposal or the memo in the supplemental packet is actually 3 proposals. The first one is for Sharp's labor support for the relocation of equipment from this unit to the new place and setting it up. Exhibit 2 is network equipment required for the move itself, getting new wireless access points, switches, things like that, specific for the new office. And then the third one is new firewall and network security equipment and licenses. It's being done as part of the move, but this would have been required even if we were to stay here. The equipment that we have is quickly approaching the end of its supported life, and it's needing replacement regardless. It just lines up really well to install that in the new office as part of the move. So we were also asking for a motion to approve the new proposals in the supplemental item.
Okay, there's a move.
second,
And we have a second. Go ahead.
Any opposition? Any abstentions?
Okay, buddy.
Okay.
Bronson, homeless services.
Right, lots going on. We're July 1, we're gonna have like a lot of contracts in place. So just want to give you the latest updates. There's a lot of moving pieces right now because of Measure A. It's $1 billion. We got a program $1 billion of funding. We're getting a little slice of that pie. So this just came out. last week. And so this is the recommended funding allocations by the La Casa consultants. So you can see South Bay cities here. The total of account for La Casa is 35% of Measure A. So it's $382 million of Measure A. PPO is production, so new construction of affordable housing. PPO flexible is, think of that as preservation. So instead of new construction, we're just buying existing and then converting it to affordable, which is great for the South Bay. RPHP is rental protections and homeless prevention. Technical assistance is a smaller amount, but that's just to help us because we're all kind of new at this, especially in the South Bay, to provide technical assistance, consultants or maybe employees to help us think through all this stuff. And then admin is just the cost of administrative dollars. So the South Bay, we're getting $11 million of new funding. This is completely new to the COG. About 5.4 of that will be for the construction, the production and preservation piece of it. And then about $4.9 million will be the renter protection and prevention part of it.
Where is the intermediate housing? Where is that?
It's not in there. So
Is that part of flexible or the?
no, it's not actually, it's not in here at all. The cost is very, it's really weird.
Yes.
The cost is very specific. This funding cannot be used for homeless people. Crazy. That's actually in the first paragraph of the statute.
Really?
Yeah.
It's for prevention.
Now,
Okay,
the thing is, it's not, they don't define homeless, right? And we got the MOU today. And they don't define homeless in there too. So that means I need to work with them, the board, the CASA board, which I sit on, to help them define how this money is utilized. We obviously want to help as many people as possible. We're never going to get sued for helping too many people. But when lawyers and bureaucrats get involved, that's when we create wrong doors. And in homeless services, there's lots of wrong doors. Like, oh, you're couch surfing. Well, you're not technically homeless then. That's BS, right? So we want to prevent stuff like that from happening. So there's a lot of work to be done. And we're meeting with Mike Jenkins, our lawyers, to make sure that we have the broadest possible definitions in place so that we can help as many people as possible.
But Ronson, your other programs that are serving like a traditional homeless
Yeah.
definition
So the
are
rest of-
still in place.
The rest of the 65% can go towards homelessness.
So that,
But we don't want ever want to
right,
so what happens right now is that if there's a case, like one of our case managers, or not our case manager, but one of the LAHSA case managers goes and meets a family on the street.
Mhm.
They'll say, oh, you're a family. Well, I'm just the individual adult person. So I can't help you. You need to call the family system. And so they walk away. And so that's what happens, right? There's wrong doors everywhere. And so we don't want to say, oh, well, we're just 35% of the funding. So we can't help you. Go call someone else.
It's
We
not
don't,
my job mentality,
Exactly.
right? And that's.
we don't want that. We want to restrict that as much.
Ronson, what's the timing on spending? There you go.
So for the construction, we have a year to spend it. And for the production, we have a year, but we can roll some of that over into next year. Based on my initial read of the MOU, which just came out this morning. Well, actually came out on Friday, but I read it this morning.
So do we have the wherewithal to spend it?
Yeah, I'll get to that quickly. The answer is not really. So it's happening quick. So this is the timeline.
maybe, I think the answer is
So
maybe.
May 12th, that's the day, right? After Mother's Day. Hope y'all had a great Mother's Day weekend. And then so we're gonna do comments with Mike Jenkins, our lawyer. And then everything is gonna be cooking by June 25th. They're gonna seek their board approval. At the same time, we're gonna be seeking our board approval. So in June, there's gonna be a lot of activity. I'll probably come back to you with a spending plan in June and also our initial MOU contracts. And then we're gonna try to get everything approved by late June, and hopefully we can hit the ground running July 1. So there's a lot to do on the La Casa side of things. So to answer your question, Bill, for the production side of things, we're open to ideas for this funding. We, unlike the San Diego Valley COG and the Gateway COG, we don't have a housing trust to program this money. So they already have a housing trust. So it's like San Gabriel Valley COG, they have 120 projects in the pipeline. So they can easily program this money. In fact, they're going to they've already spent it in their heads. But we're not in that boat. We're not in that position.
But we're looking to establish.
We're looking to establish one. Our motto and idea to create one. So some ideas we have is maybe going out with an RFP we have a lot of developers in the area. We have a lot of Manhattan Beach developers. We have a lot of developers in the southern part of our COG, Torrance, Hermosa Beach, there's a developer. And then see if there's any projects we can fund. $5 million, you can't build anything with $5 million, but we can maybe put down money for construction to kind of finance any gap funding for construction or put down payments for projects. And we're open to any and all ideas. You know, the Hawthorne Mall came to mind, right? So there's a lot of stuff we could do. We're just not necessarily ready to do it yet. So we'll be soliciting feedback from our community planners too, our local housing authorities. If you guys have any ideas, open to hearing them.
Like a tiny village kind of thing?
Yeah, as long as it's not interim,
Right.
but it has to be permanent.
Do we have any examples where we could reach out to, whether it's a city or whatnot, that's been very successful, and whether it's buying motels or whatnot, and get some ideas on how we might facilitate some of this?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think maybe having the San Gabriel Valley come and talk. They're like they've had it for like 3 years now, and so some of the money they've initially spent loaned out are now actually coming back. So they're replenishing their funds. So they're way ahead of the game.
Yeah,
So
they're 3 or 4 years ahead of where we are.
So we're slacking.
Hey, Ross, what about, let's say, if we have a project already in pipeline, we already have choose a developer that's gonna build some affordable housing in one of our lot. Could that project be qualified for this?
yes. Yes, but before I have my housing technical assistance person, that will, there's so much rules and regulations around this. But yeah, I mean, the idea is, yeah, if you're developing a affordable housing project, by all means. Now, there's certain rules like 100% of it has to be 80% AMI or below, which is still pretty high. Like 80% AMI is like $80,000 a year.
Yeah.
For a single individual, it's like $60-something thousand a year. So they could still be making good money. They could be a teacher or like a medical assistant and still qualify. But then like 50% of it has to be like 50% below AMI. And that starts getting harder and harder to qualify. And then there's this other issue, which the labor unions snuck in. Well, they didn't sneak it in here, but it's in there. But you need to use union labor. And that is the big.
Oh,
That increases.
holy cow.
80%,
Yes, maybe.
yeah, 80% of the projects have to be unionized.
Union labor, oh my lord. Phantom,
That's amazing.
Now on the renter protection side, I'm ready for this one because we're kind of doing it already. But so there's really 2 buckets where I like to spend the money. So in my head, I've already kind of programmed it, but always open to feedback and things like that. But the statute does discuss heavily the use of legal interventions for homelessness. And so there is these programs, there's about 4 programs in 2 buckets. One is basically Stay House LA and legal prevention. Stay House LA is the eviction protection stuff. In LA City and unincorporated areas, they have this rule called right to counsel. But when you get arrested, you have a right to a public defender, right?
No, not necessarily today.
Well, the theory, yeah, so I mean, that's,
Sorry,
Ideal.
I couldn't resist.
so the idea is to kind of have something like that for a renter facing eviction. And where that's happened, it's been proven successful. If you don't have legal representation, you will be evicted 90% of the time. You do have legal protections, your success rate goes up to 40%. And then actually in the State House LA program, even if you do get evicted, they have what they call a soft landing, which they will maybe negotiate with the landlord to pay a relocation fee, or they'll move someone into another place that will accept them. So it's been a pretty successful program from what I've seen. And then we also currently also use legal prevention. We actually have, we work with Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles. And I currently do this already, but we refer them to similar cases. What happens sometimes is, the people we serve aren't financially savvy. So they buy cars with like a 30% interest rate. And so they can't pay rent because they're like victims of these loan sharks, basically. And so we'll send them to these lawyers that'll help defend them and maybe get them out of that transaction. So stuff like that we already do. So I'm looking to, now these two programs, there already is short-term funding. So I'm not kind of under the gun to kind of fund these programs because they already have funding. But I will, in the course of the year, kind of discuss how we as the South Bay can better use these programs and make sure we have visibility into who of our constituents are using these programs, things like that. So that's down the road. But immediately there are two programs that are kind of running out of funding. And that's the LA County Homeless Court, not to be confused with the Redondo Beach Homeless Court and the Criminal Record Clearing Project. The LA County Homeless Court, think of that more as like a ticket clinic. So it's like if you get like a speeding ticket or a jaywalking ticket, loitering ticket, these are low-level infractions. What the LA County Homeless Court does is they try to expunge that. As long as you're connected to the homeless system, they'll expunge it, and then that way, because like those infractions, those tickets, on average, a homeless person has about $2,000 worth of those tickets, and so that goes onto a credit check. So because you owe that money, right? And so with bad credit, you can't get rent, you can't, and that sometimes might hinder you from getting a job. But that definitely goes on your background check if you don't pay or you have failure to appears. That creates like the bench warrant. So so those things can prevent someone from a path of self-sufficiency. So we currently already work with them. In fact, the South Bay utilizes that program a lot because they're always at the Redondo Beach Homeless Court. They're one of the tables that you see there. And the Criminal Record Clearing Project is for slightly higher level offenses, all the way up to a violent felony. So they don't cover that, but they help also expunge records so that you can get a job. And so that's more of a priority for this rental protection money. And then we're also going to start rental assistance programs. And the idea here is make contract with 2 to 3 service providers as renter specialists that will administer like payments for rental arrears or a few months of rental help to give people a leg up. And then we also want to fund current city administered programs. So Gardena has a great rental arrear program that they administer. Carson, I believe they had a program for those that were affected by the mobile home sale. I know Torrance had this issue too a couple years back, where seniors were being evicted after the mobile home park gets sold. And so they all created some sort of rental subsidy program to get those seniors into other apartments. So those are things we're looking to fund the cost of.
Ron, just a quick question. Didn't we have a state funding that went away associated with seniors this past year?
Yeah, the home safe program.
Yeah.
That's scheduled to expire in July. We have about 16 seniors on that program that we're aware of. So we could use some of this funding to kind of keep them afloat.
Well, yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking is targeting, what class of people such as our seniors that, may be at risk of becoming homeless. That seems to be a logical, hey, let's target you and make sure you don't become homeless, right? With this kind of funding.
Yeah, exactly.
And Ronson, question, because you know how the Section 8 vouchers are under attack by the administration in Washington. Any chance that we could maybe potentially help some of those people that might lose their Section 8 voucher?
Yeah, that actually might be really real.
Real.
What I'm hearing is the emergency housing vouchers,
Yeah.
which is like a subset of Section 8. The emergency housing vouchers were funded during the COVID pandemic. And it got, hundreds of Angelenos housed during the pandemic.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is the administration wants to end it. So basically you're renting, your Section 8 is paying for you, and then that income source goes away. And so that might be really real. So that subset of Section 8 might be ending.
Okay.
And yeah, so yeah, we will definitely use our money to help those folks stay housed.
Good. Thank you.
And then just 2 more slides. So with all this new money coming in, so just We were rough, we got up to about $2 million a year, and then this year we're getting $3 million for the services part of it, right? The 65%. So the services part, we're doing $3 million now. And so that's what we've been working on for the past years, right? Me, Addie, and Kathy, and Miranda is a program component of it. So we have a small but hardworking team. The possibly would increase that amount by 6x. So we're gonna grow by 6x, right? The team. So we'll need additional staff to help administer all this new money. So idea is, and this is just all still being talked, nothing's set in stone, but the vision is to add additional staff to help administer. We need a data analyst to help reporting and provide you all with the reports. Like how many people on Lameda are accessing these services, how many people at Gardena are accessing these services. So we want all that reporting that you've never gotten before, frankly. Now start showing up. We want housing specialists, right? Someone who's done this before, who's funded affordable housing and built affordable housing. So that's the additional staff member. And then all this is funded too, by the way. And then we currently already have a housing located to work with our landlords and property owners, and that's Miranda. And that's been funded through Measure A. And so the idea is to kind of reorganize the homeless services into two teams. One is Measure A services, which Addie will lead. And by the way, if you haven't heard, Addie got promoted to project manager recently. And then so under her will be a project coordinator that we'll need to find. And then care coordinator, which is Kathy. And under La Casa, I will lead that with a project coordinator that we still need to hire. We'll have Miranda still as the housing locator to develop the landlord relationships and property owners. We'll have a data analyst and a housing production specialist. So that's kind of like the vision. Kind of goes hand in hand with our office expansion too. Any questions on that? That's it for the CASA.
Are you getting promoted?
I feel like just an honor to be with you guys all this time.
Only if he left us for the county to run the show. So real quick. So your pallet shelter and all those expenses, that's all city dollars. Nothing comes out of this.
No, we've got money.
Yeah, it's
It's
you've got
a
money.
whole mix of money.
Right, you've got bits and pieces, right? But
$800,000 from HealthNet. And then $800,000 from the county executive's office, I think, to expand the pallet shelters. As far as the ongoing expenses go, I'm not exactly sure where that money is coming from.
Yeah, it's-
I think 1.5 is from the city's budget.
right, I remember.
It's actually from a budget called COGIS. It's the same funding that Torrance gets now. That's actually from state money that the county repackages and gives to you guys.
And that's gonna continue?
I think that's gonna continue. It's gonna continue as long as the state keeps funding it, I believe.
Simple question then. So none of the Measure A dollars going towards the interim housing, it's all permanent?
Yeah, well, no. So they are.
Or just that,
They are funding their own interim housing. So there's.
but nothing for the cities. So if we wanted to put a pallet shelter up, they know dollars for that.
Torrance and Hawthorne just applied for Measure A funding for their shelters. And they both got, I think Redundancy might have applied, but they both got rejected. And they're funding.
But we're trying to.
Profit shelters.
Here.
Yeah,
Yeah, but,
which perform less
right,
in our shelters.
right,
So it's not even merit based.
it's crap based.
Yeah.
But how do we change that?
Page.
Really through Page. I think at this point they've.
It's nonsensical. I mean, we're, like, the supervisor said at our General Assembly, they're building on, they're converting this hotel here and there. That's gonna be years in the making. Meanwhile, people are still pooping at the park
Yeah,
and hanging out at the schools.
I think San Jose is a good model right now. The mayor there is doing something called interim supportive housing. It's like a new terminology, where it's like the idea is like they're interim, but it's not like 6 months. It's their interim is like
Until they get somewhere else.
until there's housing.
Right. If that's your model, isn't that basically your model? They stay there until you have a permanent, whatever you want to call that little P, place to go.
I don't, yeah, I don't know, like, I feel like our models are still in temporary. I know Torrance, for example, it's still temporary, right?
Well, it's
still.
temporary little T, right?
Yeah.
Which, so they can be temporary until,
But the mayor in San Jose is very explicit, like, don't expect someone when they move in here, they'll be out the door in a year.
Right.
They're gonna be here 3 or 4 years potentially.
but our county, my understanding, and give me, remember, I have a Florida education. Our county is doing nothing to address that intermediate
Transition.
housing. That is the critical piece.
Yeah,
We are street to permanent housing and nothing in the middle to prepare them for living on their own in permanent supportive housing.
yeah, so they've built a lot of shelters. I think there is 20,000 shelter beds in
What does that
Alameda
mean?
County.
Is that temporary? Is that intermediate?
That's intermediate. The problem though is that their management of it hasn't been up to par.
Are
Like
they congregate shelters or?
most of it, yeah, that's the other issue.
Yeah, it's
They-
bunk living, right?
It's like,
Nobody wants to live in-
yeah,
No.
our city at the time built all these congregate shelters. On average, they average about 100 beds per shelter.
You
And,
can't have your dog, you can't have your plant, you can't have, yeah, it's
and
ridiculous.
so what we found is that no one wants to go into these shelters. Because
Surprise.
traumatized by it, yeah. And so, yeah, so there is a move, and San Jose's doing this too, and we're doing it, but a move to go towards non-congregate, which is more expensive to administer, but I think you get more bang for your buck,
Right.
like 3x the return than if you built a congregate shelter.
Has there been any move from these pallet shelters that are, have a certain useful life to something modular that's permanent, that somebody could live in for 10 years, for example? Not say that we want them to live at the pallet shelter site for 10 years, but so that you can reproduce individual housing at a much greater
Yeah.
rate and less expense.
So one of the things that's going on too in your cities that are affected by encampments is the county does have a successful program. I think of it's pretty successful. It's called Pathway Home. And Mayor Bass is doing her version of it called Insight Safe. And what that is they're taking people in these encampments, putting them into motels, right? Now the rub is and you've seen this in LA Times reports, but they're putting them in motels, but they're not necessarily going into permanent housing from the motels. I think that's okay. As long as they're off the streets and they're in a
Right.
motel, that's fine. Don't measure yourself to getting that person permanently housed. What you should then eventually do is convert those motels into permanent, and then you've solved your own problem.
But we don't have enough hotels though, right? I mean, if I want to clear up an encampment of 20 in my town right now,
Yeah, there's not a
there's
motel.
nowhere for them to go,
Yeah,
for you.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Then I gotta say, call Redondo or.
Yeah, they probably put in hall $20 knowledge.
Stampede.
That's what they did.
Yeah,
That's what they did. That's what they go with.
They're just counting days, okay?
They put right down Imperial.
Right.
Yeah.
That they were gonna put for families that needed housing. Thing's been vacant for 2 years.
Oh.
And it's got a fence around it.
Yeah, it takes a while. It takes a while to convert. I mean, the Redondo
Right.
Beach one took like almost 2-3 years, right? The home key site.
I got a question around the housing locator.
Yeah.
So aren't developers looking for developments to actually build? What is the role of the housing locator?
Yeah, so the housing locator, so we were running into this problem with Section 8 and like time limit subsidies. There's a lot of landlords averse to Section 8. And so the housing locator and she does a great job of this, is to meet landlords that are Section 8 friendly. It's actually illegal to income discriminate. So what that means is you can't discriminate with Section 8 vouchers, but people do, right? We know this. And so the idea is to break down some of those walls, make relationships with these landlords, and that way we can get more people into these apartments. And that's what she does. And then she's actually meeting a lot of property owners as well, and developers too. So one successful outcome of this program is that we got in touch with a developer and they built these dorm-like facilities near USC. And we were able to partner with LASA to kind of match those into those units. So that's the idea is someone to be eyes and ears on the ground, meet with developers, meet with property owners, and to get more people who are homeless into their buildings. Thank you.
Anything else?
All right, so that's the cost. It's just one extra thing. There is an action item I need from you today. We've developed this MOU template. So this is now switched gears. This is the Measure A services part, the 65%. We got, and the board's already approved this, $3 million for services. This is all approved in the last board meeting. This is what we're gonna spend it on. So now we need an MOU to contract with the different cities and our nonprofits. So that's what's in your packet. I need approval for that as the MOU template. And what we'll do is use that MOU template as the basis of all the contracts for these cities. Lawrence has already just sent that MOU, and it's actually based on that. They approved that for city council on Tuesday, and so they're ready to go with their $310,000. But yeah.
I move.
Before we vote on this, I need to bring Cedric in so that he can be part of it. Cedric, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you. So we're gonna do the AB 2449 and we have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay, Cedric, we need you to be on camera and then just confirm that or identify anybody over the age of 18 in the room with you.
There's nobody here but me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, everyone.
welcome. Okay, now we'll go ahead and we'll take a motion for
Oh, got it.
have a motion to move, approve,
I move.
second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I have to do roll call now.
Go ahead.
El Segundo? Not here. Mahan Beach?
Here.
Hermosa? I'm assuming a yes.
Oh, sorry, yes.
That's it.
Torrance?
Yes.
Media Estates? Yes. Ranch House Fruit? President, Rolling Hills Estates?
Yes.
Rolling Hills? Sorry, I don't have my list in front of me. Lamita? I'm looking to the map.
Guess we know she's saying.
Carson,
Yes.
Gardena,
Yes,
and LA County. LA, District 2 or 4th, and LA City,
Hawthorne, aye.
or in Lawndale.
Yes.
Wow.
actually pretty good.
Dan's gonna go.
I have a new list.
You're in, yeah. Oh, you have it? Okay. All
I
right.
didn't have it open when we started that one. Okay,
Okay, thank you very much.
You got it.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, how about
Not
REAP,
even in alpha order.
REAP 2.0?
Want to start with trust?
we'll start with the trust. We have the next advisory committee meeting on the 22nd. We had a meeting with the consultant and Mike Jenkins to go over some differences between the draft JPA that the city managers had worked on a year or two ago and the formation legislation SB 1444 that formed the trust. And Mike Jenkins was pretty confident that there's ways to word the JPA to kind of get around some of the differences, but it may be easier just to clean up the trust formation language with a bill. And there were one of them was very minimal. It was who appoints the board for the trust. The JPA has the JPA board naming them. The legislation has the COG board, and so the idea would be to fix that. And then the other one, which isn't a huge issue, but it may be a little bit controversial, is that we would like to include moderate income housing as a type of housing that we would fund. The SB 1444 language does not include moderate housing right now. And there's potentially some sensitivity up in Sacramento about the inclusion of moderate housing. Not market rate, it still is an affordable level, but it's not the low, very low, extremely low, et cetera, et cetera. And so we sent, Mike Jenkins put together a list of all of his ideal fixes to SB 1444. We shared that with Senator Allen's staff, who are going to kind of shop it around with the committees and see if there's any kind of heartburn with any of the potential changes. And depending on how that kind of feedback goes, and if Senator Allen even has an open bill available, we will figure out, is that something that we can do this session, or do we wait and ask him to introduce something in January when the new bills get introduced? That's kind of the two main things. We've gotten another round of comments on the draft housing needs assessment. Some revisions to the numbers. No major changes, but still about $1 billion plus a year that we'll need in investment to meet our RENA projections or RENA goals. And so we will have more information, I think, at the next meeting on that. If the strategic planning committee agenda or invite will be going out, if it's not already, later this week. And I think that's it on the housing trust.
David, a quick question. If Senator Ben Allen cannot do, can you check with the other senator like Laura Richardson? Because
Yeah,
they represent a lot of our cities.
yeah, there's no reason why. Ben was the sponsor of the first bill, so we approached him first, but any of our legislators, even in the assembly, could do an amendment for us.
You know, Laura used to be on the housing stuff.
Right. And if we're successful in killing Ben's Metro bill, he will have a bill spot available. But
All right.
if we're in his good graces to have him introduce that, I don't know. But
The other question I have, it has to be specifically when you said affordable housing. Does it have to put moderate or low income or just say affordable housing
I think you,
and just leave it, like
I
that?
think legally you probably could do it both ways, but I don't know that
It's
just,
the RENA issue, right? Would be.
yeah, I don't know that not specifying would make it through the legislature.
That's because the arena, because if we say affordable, then you can do anything you want,
Right,
Right.
and they're looking for those.
for those
Yeah,
subsection of that affordable. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, understood. Thank you.
Yeah, you'd hate to do it and not get credit for doing it.
Right, or enough of the funds available to do what you need to do.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, if all you're doing is moderate housing, that's probably not gonna do you a whole lot for rate.
Yeah.
And those categories all have definitions behind them,
Right.
so,
and percentage.
yeah, there's order to the category.
And-
Okay,
Yeah.
want to do the next?
So an action item we have is a approval to recommend to the board, this.
What about, you want to do mobility?
Mobility.
Just an overview?
Sure. One of our REAP 2.0 grants that we have is to conduct a mobility hub study in the South Bay. REAP 2.0's timeline is tight, but we are approaching the steps of putting out an RFP. We have taken a very strong data approach to this using tools such as locus.io, which gathers metro data as well as telephone data. So we get trips data on all modes of transportation originating from the South Bay, anything from within your own city to within the South Bay to the larger LA County. We can see where most of your city's trips are going every day, how they get there, and where also they're coming from. So we're using that to inform a heavily data-driven RFP that will look at potential sites for our mobility hub in the South Bay. STAG has also come out with a mobility hub's guidelines for implementation. However, we feel that it's a little too broad and doesn't necessarily capture the context specifics of the South Bay. So we're looking at a variety of typology with the South Bay not necessarily having mobility hubs that will be so centrally based on transit. Whereas most mobility hubs are either at a high frequency transit stop or a bus station. We're going to try and implement, look at the possibility for other South Bay COG priorities, especially micromobility and how that could fit in. So I will give further updates as we continue, but we are developing an RFP for that. And then our second REAP 2.0 project is our commercial to redevelopment to housing project. We put an RFP out for this in the beginning of April. We received 8 requests, which was a lot. Big thanks to, first of all, to the city of Torrance and for the city of Carson. We both had your community development director sit on our external review committee and provide wonderful insights and ask some great questions after interviews. We chose to interview the top 3 firms, which were Studio 111, RRM Design, and EPS, Environmental Protective Services. It is the internal and external review committee's recommendation that we move forward with Studio 111. Studio 111 worked on our REAP 1.0 housing roadmap study. They have strong experience in the South Bay, understand the unique challenges, especially with future RENA cycles, as well as the specific typologies for housing that work well in the South Bay. They also, having worked with us before, in their interview, showed a very strong understanding of COG priorities and implemented other infrastructure elements such as the fiber network when looking at housing development. They also, one of their deliverables that they were the only one who had this, instead of just part of the scope of work is to develop an underutilized site inventory that goes beyond just the participating cities. And this will allow all cities to look at sites that are potential candidates for redevelopment. And Studio 111 went beyond to create a user-friendly mapping tool that will be interactive beyond just a GIS layer that we can turn over to you. So the public will be able, if you so choose, would be able to navigate it pretty easily, as well as all of you. And this is for a consultant budget of $254,815. And it's the recommendation of the internal review committee, as well as Michelle and Saeed from Florence and Carson, who are doing this decision that we recommend. And I believe she was on here, but their project manager was on here a second ago, and she's with the Studio 111 team, but I don't see her anymore. Yeah.
So this is just for commercial development?
It is looking at, so the difference between this primarily and REAP 1.0 is in this one that the 3 participating cities are giving the consultant the sites. They've already been pre-selected, and then they're doing a fit and feasibility study to determine how it can be redeveloped, as well as providing conceptual designs for what that would look like. So it's not exploring a variety of sites within the city. It's going through the process of the city sites already identified.
But then you mentioned that this goes beyond GIS, so in theory, we could take the data and apply it to other cities and say these may be redevelopment opportunities.
Absolutely. So they will be compiling a underutilized site inventory of 80 sites across the South Bay. And we, working with them, are going to narrow that down to 7 sites. And those 7 sites will receive the same treatment that the city identified sites will receive, such as a fit and feasibility analysis and conceptual design. So we'll have a variety of examples of what it could look like across the South Bay, including then a database that will be handed off so that you guys can see within your cities and the region as a whole where potential sites are that fit these criteria.
Yeah, because I kind of look at this as a pilot with potentially expanding it, right? I mean, using the couple cities that you've got, and yeah, I mean, we all like to understand what our opportunities are. Maybe not so much in previous states, but in general, right?
I have a question about the, under your staff report, second page analysis, you mentioned the Cosmont Companies has experience in the South Bay, but what is their relationship to Studio 111?
Great question. So Studio 111 came in with 2 subcontractors on the proposal. Cosmont Companies does the economic analysis, so they'll be doing the fit and feasibility study. This was Cosmont and Studio 11 were the same for our REAP 1.0 housing roadmap. They have then added a 3rd subconsultant, which is Just the Works LA, which is a dedicated mapping agency. So they're going to be developing that interactive tool and database that allows, exactly as you were saying, future work using this project.
So Cosmont is still involved in.
Correct, yes. It is Studio 111 with the subcontractors Cosmont and Just the Works.
Thanks.
Other questions?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve
Second.
and a second.
Alex. Okay, Carson,
Yes.
Odendo is not present. Gardina,
Yes.
Hawthorne,
Yes.
Hermosa,
Aye.
Inglewood, not present. Lawndale,
Yes.
Lamita,
Yes.
LA is not present. Manhattan Beach,
Yes.
PV Estates, yes. RPP is not present. Redondo Beach,
Yes.
Rolling Hills not present. Rolling Hills Estates,
Yes.
Lawrence,
Yes.
SD 2 and 4, not present. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Legislation.
Okay, this is a quick one. We have two bills on here, recommendation this month. The first is to support AB 986, which is a bill sponsored, introduced by Assemblymember Martucci that would add in landslides and pre-existing conditions exacerbated by climate change to the list of conditions that would qualify for a state of emergency or local emergency. RPV is a strong supporter of this bill, but it would also affect probably the rest of the peninsula cities and even parts of Torrance where there's been some landslide activity. And then the other bill is AB 810, which is really targeted, will really impact the COG more than the cities. You've already been impacted by a similar bill a couple years ago. It would require JPAs, special districts, pretty much anything but a school district to change to a .gov email address or .gov website domain. The COG opposed the version when it was the cities. The bill passed. We're recommending an opposed position on this. It's just another burden to change, get another domain and switch everything over. Likelihood of it passing is probably pretty high. We've already started to go through the process of securing. You have to request your .gov domain from an entity. So we've started to do that so we can still have the South Bay Cities.gov should this pass. But we wanted to be on record of opposing that bill. So
I take these.
yeah, together or separate, whatever you.
Okay, so there's a need a recommendation to send this to the board for approval or support of AB 986 in opposition to AB 810.
So moved.
Second. Who's the second?
Okay.
Okay, Carson,
Yes.
El Segundo is not present. Gardina,
Yes.
Hawthorne. Hermosa,
Yes.
Inglewood's not here. Lawndale,
Yes.
Lamita,
Yes.
Clay's not present. Manhattan Beach,
Yes.
PV Estates, yes. Redondo,
Yes.
Rolling Hills Estates,
Yes.
Torrance,
Yes.
and SD 2 and 4 are not present. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Environmental services, Kim?
Yeah, so I thought I would start with just a recap coming out of the, Earth Month that we had a lot of activity going on. You can see we have some pictures up on some of the events. We actually hit our 100th event out in the field. So the team has been out in the field to 100 events this year so far. These pictures are from the city of Redondo Beach and the city of Carson's event that just took place. So that's exciting. Also, at one of the events alone, we got 100 email addresses. So, we send out the e-blasts and that audience is is a very captive audience. We have a very high open rate for them to interact with our information. And actually we're sending out information from all of our programs. And so increasing that database by 100 emails was fantastic. Let's see here. Share it this way. I go like this. Also, we had a volunteer field trip. Oh, is it not coming? Oh, there it goes. This is delayed. So the volunteer field trip was in for the sanitation districts. And we went to the San Jose Creek Water Reclamation Plant. And you can see the volunteers there at the top left. That was a team. That. And then just some work that we had been doing over the last few months, had been working even into last year, trying to secure some of these programs, and we were able to get the California Green Business Network certification available to all cities. This is where we work with your businesses to achieve certification. We give them information about how to be more sustainable. So, and electricity as well as waste, water, conservation. We use all of our resources with our partners to take their programs out to the business, but it was very difficult to get the certification piece of it. So the LA County is going to pay for it for 1 year. So we were able to get that. Actually, Eleanor worked really hard to get the Kits for Kids expansion. We weren't able to even enroll any of our schools this last year because they had a delay in their product, but they increased the participation level by 300%. And so we've had a lot of our cities, actually city council members, interested in making sure that we brought this program to their elementary schools. And this is for 3rd and 4th graders, to educate them on energy efficiency. The other thing that's really fun about it is you can see the picture right there is we'll have an event around the achievement of the schools, and the school classrooms can earn up to like $1,000 that the teachers can use for different things. Some teachers have used it for things like creating a science lab, for example. And so that's what that event is. And the last thing is that we were able to finally get the commercial direct install program. And so we're going to be kicking that off actually this month, and working with specific businesses to bring them like high value energy efficiency programs. And we'll also again work with our partners to secure that, to have them leverage those programs. And then just a few more things. We are working on the greenhouse gas emissions inventories reports. Our Civic Spark Fellow, which I'll talk a little bit about some changes with the Civic Spark program. We were able to, Kevin did a webinar for them on how to read the document so that we can get the comments back from the cities. We've got 5 of the reports distributed and they're out to your staff to review. And this is the report that looks at the measurement of how much greenhouse gas has been reduced since you adopted your climate action plans. And the years that we're looking at is 2019 and 2020. And that was your goal. The first goal year was 2020. We're looking at 2019 because that 2020 was like a crazy year, right? And then we're also working on resiliency hubs. And this is with the cities of Gardena, Hawthorne, Lawndale, and Manhattan Beach. And working with the city staff to identify city facilities that could be used as resiliency hubs and what might more need to be done to those buildings to enhance them to be what the city is envisioning for what a resiliency hub would be. And so that work is underway and we're working with city staff on that. And then we completed we submitted and completed 10 reports for the benchmarking. And this is under the law AB 802, where facilities that have 50,000 or more square feet, that building has to be benchmarked. And we were able to do 10 of those. We do again work with city staff. And interesting, staff had been getting sort of spammed on this particular function and getting emails saying, are you in compliance with this report? And so our team was able to do some research on it, notify all the city staff. If you've been contacted, it looks very official, right? Have you done this report? We have all of the information and we can work directly with the state agency. Do not respond to some spam email. So of all the things, who knows about maybe 802 that you would spam a city, right? So that's some of the work that we did.
So real quick on that one, on the resilience hubs.
Yes.
Pull this together. Are you gonna have what I would characterize as specs for a resilience hub?
So this particular body of work is focusing on energy efficiency. So it is looking at that and then potential opportunities for maybe like solar installation or electric vehicle charging. So the resiliency would be things like, can it be a cooling center?
Well, and that's the reason what because we had the discussion with, the county supervisors on,
Right.
potentially resilience hub and
Right.
hey, it's hot outside, where might we, send people? So that's kind of what I was thinking about
Right.
as we, think about those opportunities, it was hot this past weekend, right? Where are those, opportunities, we, county said, hey, go to the library. Sorry, the library's closed on Sunday. It doesn't do you any good, right? So
Right.
that's kind of what I was thinking.
Exactly. And some cities have some facilities that they've already identified, but they need like a little bit of extra work done. Some cities don't have anything identified yet. And so this is an opportunity to do that. The city of Pomona worked through this particular project, and then the report that was done was able to be put into a grant that they were able to get additional funding to do more building. So the idea is to give the cities what they need to take it to the next step.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about it from a, sub-region perspective, right?
Right.
Hey, it's really hot. Okay, maybe you can't go to Lamita as an example, but
Right.
you can go to Torrance, right? I mean, just, kind of throwing it out there, right? Where's that, where people aren't just vacant, right?
Sort of like a map of them.
But yeah, because LA County has something that says, hey, it's hot out, go here, go there. But again, the libraries are closed on Sundays. So,
Right.
anywhere where we could, refer people to when it's 100 and some degrees outside is a good thing.
Right, okay, that's a good point. Okay, so then moving down on, we have two items that we do need to ask you to approve to move forward, but one thing I wanted just to let you know first is that we are starting to feel some of the effects of some of the federal administration affecting our funds, even though we're not taking federal funds directly, we're seeing it's
Indirectly.
other ways, yeah, indirectly. One of those was Civic Spark. So Civic Spark fellows are partly funded by AmeriCorps. And as I'm sure you all heard on the news, that AmeriCorps got significantly hit, right? Not only in funding, but also in staffing. They pretty much just gave a notice and they lost like 100 staff in one day. So then even being able to get the funds out to the programs, I think that's what we're seeing, right? Is that maybe the funding is still there, but then they don't have the staff to actually send the money out to the different programs. So that happened. So what the COG was able to do is very quickly bring our two fellows on part-time temporary staff. And so we did that because basically we found out, they said, we got an email from Civic Spark that said, we might have a problem, but we don't think we will. Then like on Thursday, then like on Monday, we got an email that said, we might have a problem. And then on Tuesday, our fellows cannot go into work tomorrow, like at 6 o'clock in the evening. Your fellows cannot report to work tomorrow. They're on furlough. So it was like, so we were able to put them quickly in place. It looks like now, because it's really evolving, this issue, they may have found another funder. So we may be able to move them off of the temporary part-time staff back onto the Civic Spark program. So we're working on that, but I just wanted to let you know, we still have them. We were able to do it. What happens next year? We have no idea right now. We don't know. They're trying to find other funding opportunities.
When does their term end?
They only have 15 more weeks at this point. So it is also a very short period of time. We have 2 right now. Yeah. And the other program that we may see federal problems with is the benchmarking that I talked about, because that benchmarking tool is funded by the federal government. So it's Energy Star Portfolio Manager. It's an online tool, and it looks like climate and types of buildings and sets standards for the benchmarking. When the federal budget wasn't able to be approved a few years ago, and they were like for 3 months, I don't know if you remember that, probably do. Like we didn't have a budget at the federal level for 3 months. They closed down that whole tool. You couldn't even get into that tool. They took it offline. So we have heard that we might have problems with it. I don't know what that'll mean to the state law, because the benchmarking law is at the state, or if they're going to do a different tool. But we have downloaded all of the data that's in that tool. So we have all of the utility, keeps like all the utility data for all the buildings over a long period of time, so that you can see what your use is and you can see how your buildings are performing over time. So we did download all that information. So just a heads up on that. And now to the items that we have for approval. The first one is, I'm going to start with the Green Business Program. So what we've been able to do is kind of piece different programs together to continue to fund the green business. We call it the Green Business Assist, South Bay Green Business Assist Program. This is a memo in your report or in your packet. And we have over 400 businesses that participate in that program right now. And we do that, we use that program to leverage any kinds of things or information, can even be other kinds of programs, like transportation, for example, to that audience on a regular basis. So the certification will be tied to that program, but we also have sponsors for that program. West Basin pays into that program a little bit. We also have Golden State Water that pays into that program. We have tried to get additional funding through like waste haulers as well as California Water, but we haven't been able to successfully secure additional funding for that. But we were approached by the California Green Business Network to implement an Edison program for disadvantaged and hard to reach or underserved communities. And so we have a contract in front of you today that we'd like you to recommend for approval to the board to enter into this contract so that we can engage businesses. The purpose is to engage businesses, let them know about the program, and to get them enrolled in the program. This particular type of contract is different than what we've ever done before, because it's what they call pay for performance contract. And usually I don't do pay for performance contracts because they can be difficult, right? You can put energy in without any return on your staffing. But the way this one is set up is that your team does get, we get compensated half the funding right away when they go through the training about the program. So we'll get those funds right away for that staff time. And then in talking with our outreach team, for example, Martha, who's been able to engage all these businesses and get them enrolled anyway, we don't think we're going to have any problem. And it's for every business that we get enrolled, it's like a $300. So up to a certain point. Right now, the limit, I think, is at $20,000. And because we asked them through the Green Business Network, right, we leveraged that program for that certification. We said, can we do the entire South Bay? Can we not just look at those traditional cities, you know? And so they said, yes, since you have that program throughout the South Bay, you can implement this program throughout the South Bay. So I am looking for approval for that contract today. So that's the first one.
So we entertain a motion to forward this to the board for approval.
So moved.
Second.
David?
I know I guess like a lot.
Hedrick, yes. Vote.
Yes.
El Segundo is not present. Gardina?
Yes.
Hawthorne?
Yes.
Barbosa?
Yes.
Is not present. Lawndale?
Yes.
Lamita?
Yes.
Manhattan Beach?
Yes.
TV Estates?
Yes.
Here, Redondo Beach?
Yes.
Rolling Hills Estates?
Yes.
Lawrence?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and so the next item is the SoCal Ren Cool Roof Pilot, and I'm gonna actually stop talking and let Eleanor do this one.
Just all the way over here. I'm Eleanor Murphy. I'm on the Energy Efficiency Project team. So we just released our cool roof feasibility study and site identification analysis RFP, so lengthy, which is a pilot funded by the SoCal Ren as an energy efficiency program. Cool roofs being that which reflects sunlight cooling the building. So the study is going to look at benefits such as lower energy demand, co-benefits such as lowered greenhouse gas emissions, as well as weighing other technologies and costs, and ideally present to the cities a product which can be used. So 5 to 15 site plans chosen based on sites with the greatest feasibility to implement the technology, which will use your feedback to choose those sites. And the study will present the installation information, potential funding, and costs. And so we received two proposals from Climate Resolve and ARUP, and then from Alternative Energy Solutions Consulting. And the selection committee was made up of the energy efficiency team as well as some city staff. So when Jackie sent out this information to city managers, we received some positive feedback. So the Lomita Public Works Director sat on the committee as well as an associate engineer from Redondo Beach. So, and we did interview both proposal firms, and we decided unanimously from both the proposals to go with AESC as our recommendation because they have extensive technical experience in cool roofing. They have the ability to conduct on-site visits, and they were the most cost-effective choice. They're an energy consulting firm, and they have a lot of public agencies, so we think they would do a really great job. So in your packet is the recommendation to the board to approve AESC as the.
And that's in this
It's in your
packet that supplemental that came out on Thursday.
Okay. There's a request.
Second.
Go ahead, David.
Carson,
Yes.
El Segundo's not here. Zardina?
Yes.
Hawthorne? Yes. Hermosa?
Yes.
Londo?
Yes.
Lamita?
Yes.
President Mahan Beach?
Yes.
UB States? Yes. Not here. Redondo?
Yes.
Rolling Hills Estates?
Yes.
Lawrence? Yes.
Just a quick question. Kim or Eleanor. When you say cool roofs, is it like new shingles or new flat roofs that have a low solar reflect or high solar reflectivity index, or are you talking about like green roofs?
It would be green roofs, I mean, like with like.
Plants and stuff,
Right.
yeah.
It would be the reflective one, so that could be shingles or tiles, but it could also just be paint. So
Okay.
that would, based on like roof age and other, things
What
that they're gonna help
conditions
us.
and- right,
So,
yeah, right.
yeah, then we would decide.
One
One
of the-
recommend specific products, but yeah, not the green.
Okay.
And it was interesting because the consultants in one of the questions was, how do you determine what the best product is? How are you gonna make a recommendation? And they said, not only is it the things that Eleanor had mentioned, but it also depends on like the pitch of the roof.
Right.
Like you can't have a slick, you can't paint something on a slick surface, where somebody's gonna fall. I thought that was really good insight. So that's the kind of information we're gonna get back to the cities.
As opposed to hip, cool and happening.
Yeah.
Like you.
You're not gonna have a park on top of the building. No parks on the buildings. That'd be a fun one.
Okay, let's move on. Board meeting agenda development.
Okay, so the draft board agenda is in your packet. This month we've got Ronson providing an update on Redondo Beach's functional zero work. Going to be a pure water presentation by the sanitation districts. For those, most of you were here at Transportation Committee, but for those that weren't, there's going to be a brief update on the Inglewood Transit Connector project and their request from for a scope of work change. And we will be opening nominations for officers. In June, we will, it's already been a year, have our next
Wow.
election of officers. In July, we are planning on having the consultant for the Housing Trust provide an update on the work that's been done there so far. The Civic Spark Fellows each year at the end of their term or near the end of their term, give an update on their projects that they've been working on. Jackie's got those couple potential speakers and then has them as special meetings, but I think they're more like
Go see trips.
site visits, yeah.
Yeah. And like Alta C, my understanding is that they finished their expansion. So that we had a tour of that like last year, I think it was, but they hadn't fully all of their space yet, so if are interested in that.
Okay. And if you have any ideas for future stuff, just let David or Becky know. Draft.
Up is the budget.
And I'm just gonna say, Laura's gonna walk through it. But I do want to let you know that the funding that Ronson was talking about, the $11 million, is not currently programmed into this budget. So as we're getting details right, he just got the contract, the MOU. If we can get it in time for you to approve it in June, we'll do that. But if we need to like come back, you know, in a few months after that with like revised budget, we can do that as well. But right now you're looking at a budget that does not include that, including the expenditures like additional staff.
I was gonna ask that. So will it be a 1-for-1? So if he gets 11 million, he's gonna spend 11 million, or will it be
You're gonna spend.
bring in?
Yeah, we're gonna
I
try.
think I have to spend at least $5 million of it.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
sure. Okay, and with that, I'm gonna let
So you're Laura.
Laura go. Yeah,
Hey, you can see my screen okay?
you might, yeah, you go, there you go.
Okay, so we're starting off with just a comparison between where our numbers were at mid-year compared to what we're proposing today. So you can see that proportionally, there's an increase for our revenue and our expenditures categories, with revenue foreseeing an increase of 11.9% and expenditures foreseeing a 13.9% increase as well. And this is just another chart. We always want to come back with this chart just to kind of give you a visual. We continue to primarily rely on grants and contracts being our main form of revenue. So that's 89%, followed by our membership dues at 7%, and then lastly, 4% coming from other general fund reserves. On the expenditure categories, our primary category for that is our professional or contractual services, which is basically vendors and consultants to implement the work, the 89% on the left side of the chart. And that is also followed by 28% for salaries and benefits for COG staff, and then lastly, 27% for supplies and services.
And
We
also
also
on
wanted
that,
to,
wait 1 second, Laura. Also wanted to make a note, you'll see at the bottom of that 89%, 8% of that is pass through that goes directly to cities. So for their projects, it gets programmed directly. So it's just a pass through our organization.
What kind of projects are those?
And there are homeless services.
Okay, homeless services.
Yeah, yeah.
yes, for example, today you'll see on the accounts payable packet, there are 7 checks for homeless services, and they're almost 368,000 out of the full payments that we're distributing today. So that's what Kim was alluding to with the 8%. We also wanted to go, there's a narrative in our packet that goes through each single account, but these are the noteworthy changes that our revenue is seeing, with the first one being SCAG REAP 2.0, the presentation that Jake went over for commercial redevelopment and also the housing trust. We see an increase for that because that work has now, we're recognizing the work for that in the new fiscal year. So the increase for that is noted on there, about 400,000. It's followed by another notable increase for Metro REAP 2.0, and that's Metro syndicated through SCAG for mobility hubs. And that increases about 353,000 for contract work in this fiscal year. Next, we have a new contract for Caltrans, or also nicknamed Carson to the City. It's a gap study, and that increase for this fiscal year is about 246,000. And then we also have another new grant, Cool Roofs, the one that Eleanor was just presenting on. It's a feasibility and identification analysis, and we're committing for that funding about 175,000 in this fiscal year. Next, we also have the LA County rent contract. This is an 8-year contract, and for 2026, it goes up every year. So that's about 56,000 extra for 2026. And lastly, we have the decarbonization direct install. This is also a new form of funding directly from LA County, and about 51,000 is what we project to be spending or billing for the fiscal year 25-26. For noteworthy changes for our expenditures, we're only 3 of those. Salaries and benefits, we have an increase of staffing needs based on increased funding and new programs, as we just saw on the former slide. So about 324,000 is committed to that. We have had a 5-year contract with our current auditor, and we've been with them for about 5 years, and we also had a former contract with them. Now that we've collected proposals, now that it's been nearly 5 years, we did foresee an increase of about 8,000 from the proposals we've collected so far. And finally, for rent and utilities, we wanted to recognize the increase based on the recently approved lease agreement and our new office space. That's about $57,000 of an increase. And with that, if you don't have any questions for me, I'll hand it over to Kim. She'll go over the next 2 slides.
So right now, what you're looking at is a draft budget. We're not recommending for you to approve it. We just want to get your feedback. We'll have it, your feedback here. We'll have it at the board meeting, and then we're going to bring the budget for approval in June, and then it would go into effect July 1. So when we built this particular budget, we incorporated 2 policy revisions. And so the first policy revision is, I'll have to make my screen bigger, is the restricted reserve. So right now, the policy for restricted reserve is based on 3 months of operational costs that was for fiscal year 2022, 2023. And it was based on the end of that fiscal year. Because we are now getting ready to go into a new lease and we're going to have higher operational costs, we thought, and we have budget available to do this, we thought it would be prudent to actually change that reserve to meet what the anticipated estimated 3 months of operations would be for 25-26, right? So it's an estimate because we obviously can't finish, we won't finish the year. So we can't match that budget, that policy definition. So we did incorporate that into this budget. And that amount would be, it's going from like 349,884, you can see there, to 649,751. And then what we would do is when we finish that fiscal year, when we actually close it out the following year, then we would bring it back to you and see if you want to maintain it this way, or if you want to change your policy, if you want to go back. So that's one policy change in this. And then the other is salary schedule increases. So what's been happening over the past really like 5 to 7 years is that every January 1, we get a change in minimum wage. State law requires minimum wage to change. And the salaried employees or the exempt employees are also affected because exempt employees have to make double what hourly non-exempt employees have to make, right? So if for this particular budget, it's $18 an hour is what we are anticipating. It's going to go up January 1. Then your salary staff has to make twice as much, right, in a salary. What happened over the years is when we look at our salary schedule, we started losing our entry-level positions because our range didn't cover those entry-level positions. And a few years back, we had to reevaluate all of them and shift the schedule. We didn't do that again, except for just to meet state law, just that entry-level position. And now we're starting to have that problem again. So what we propose to do in this budget is to adjust the entire salary schedule based on that minimum wage amount that would go into effect January 1. So we wouldn't do it in advance of that. And then ideally, what we'd like to do is every year adjust it by a 3% or what we're anticipating that change is going to be at the state level so that we can constantly be moving our schedule up to accommodate state law. So that is built in to the budget. It is in the supplemental. You can see the proposed salary schedule. This doesn't mean that you're paying, more in your positions, right? Your salaried, your line item in your salaries or your benefits. It just allows us to have the flexibility to implement that people can stay within their positions and then get like the regular increases that we would already have built into the budget. So is there any questions on those 2 policies? Or I would love to hear your feedback on it. Do you like the fact that we built those in? I can take it out.
I mean, my personal comment on the restricted reserve, I'm all for fiscally conservative, right? So I think that's prudent. I was gonna ask the question, going back to a couple slides, where you talk about the revenues. And you mentioned earlier about the impact associated with the federal revenues. I mean, again, if that was a potential material impact, then I would say we need to, at least keep that in mind as well. But I think going from 347 to 6, whatever it was prudent.
Okay, that's helpful. Right now, we do not receive federal funds directly. So it doesn't affect our budget. But what we don't know is, especially for environmental programs, right? Is if the state's not going to, if they're going to lose federal funding to support their environmental programs, are they going to then backfill with other funds that might normally be coming to our programs, right?
Yes.
Are they going to reprioritize, what they want to fund, right?
Yeah, because we know, we know the state's challenged from a budget, right? County's challenged. Everybody is getting more and more challenged, if you will, relative to deficits. And I would offer up, if we don't think that somehow that's gonna come our way in some fashion, even if it's indirectly, what was there yesterday isn't there tomorrow, that's just gonna be reality.
Right. So, and then, so the good news is we're watching it. We'll have to watch it and see if right now we are not anticipating it. What do you think about the salary schedule?
Again, I think that's being, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I think that's prudent with the way you presented, so.
Okay.
Just go from there, and we know, the minimum wage is
There's
state
nothing-
law, so we have to put it there, so.
Okay,
Then we do.
yes.
Do you have any contract employees?
We do have contractors.
Okay.
Like Wally, for example, is a contractor. We do have on your budget, we actually have also on that same page, page 9. It shows like Mike Bulkey, we share that position with Metro so that we pay for him partly. He would be considered like a contractor, or it's not a contractor. We just pay into that one, right?
So Metro pays the vast majority of it. We contribute a little bit in the West Side COG.
But he's an employee under Metro, right?
He'd be a contractor under Metro.
He's a contractor.
Contracts with the COG technically.
Okay. And then we also have John Rodman, who is like an individual contractor. And then, of course, you have all of these regular agencies that or businesses that you contract with.
Have any provisions to box in the increases for the contractors as well, so that you're appropriating for it?
So the budget is built on only contracts that are currently under contract, like for that period of time, as well as grants that we said a certain amount has to go towards that contractor. So the budget is built on that foundation. I don't anticipate that changing unless we brought in additional funding that we would need contractors for.
So the increase from 17 to 18 is like 5%. What was the percent increase to all the other?
So what I ended up doing was taking that, this is on page 9 of your supplemental, is starting with that entry level, and then the ranges were adjusted on both ends, not quite by 3%. Some of them I just shortened the difference, like if there's a $10,000 between the range, some of the ranges got shortened to more like $5,000 between the range, so that we could maintain the positions of our current employees, right? So they stay within those, sound convoluted, but so that they could stay within their current position,
Increase in pay.
get an increase in pay and keep within the range and meet the state law. Okay, so all those variables had to go into sort of figuring out. So it's not an exact 3% across the board, or 4%. It's something in between. Yeah. Yeah.
So for example, for Wally's contract, right? 25, 26, some of his payment could come from Ronson's new $11 million.
Not unless he was doing work specifically for homeless services. So the funds are not just available, right? So our budget is a little more complicated than that, right? So we have to, we have restrictions by the funding that's coming in. Plus, we have to actually have staff work on those projects to bill that money coming in. So it's a balance of constantly looking at what is the staff using their time for? Is it being built at the rate that it needs to be built down, right? And what are the other needs of the organization as well? And do we have sort of like a general fund, or are we capturing enough administrative burden on our rates to cover all of operations? So, and we actually meet monthly and go through the spend. We watch the spend like very closely, and then we're constantly, I want lots of money to come to the COG. So, right, so I'm constantly looking for money to come back to the COG. So.
Good.
Yeah.
When you talk about a dollar raise, so what about all the other benefits that go?
Yeah, so separate from the position schedule, the salary schedule, we do have salaries and benefits in the budget. And we did apply a 3% to the salary piece and then calculated what that would mean to all of the benefits. So those do change. Some of those are law, some of those are based on, Laura could probably answer this question better than me, other factors that have to do with like the salary position and number of employees and things like that.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you. The questions?
So I noticed on the listing of positions, you have a senior program manager and a senior project manager, but I don't see any program managers on the table here.
Right. So that's a good question. So the salary schedule is all of the positions, but not necessarily filled.
I see. So at this point, we don't have any program managers.
Right. That's correct. And we don't have like interns either. We don't have a project assistant. So we don't have all of the positions filled, but this gives us the flexibility that if we get a program in that we would need, a certain level of staff person, that we have that position, and the board has approved all of the position descriptions. So you have those, we've approved those. And if I add additional ones, like Bronson is saying, we might need a particular new type of position, we will bring that back to you to approve.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to send this to the board.
One question, please.
Go ahead.
Fees for the cities, dues, they going up, down?
Yes, so that's an automatic. Laura, do you want to go ahead and talk about that? That was approved
Yes.
last year.
The board had actually approved back in February 2024, a consumer price index increase annually.
So that's what this,
So that's applied, yes,
Already applied.
yes.
thank you.
Okay.
And you're not approving this, you're just giving me feedback. Okay,
So it's a recommendation for the board to send you more stuff.
yes, so moved.
Second.
Okay, go ahead, David.
Thank you. Alex,
That's okay, Laura, I don't think we need to go through.
We don't need
I kind of already talked about it, yeah.
Thank you.
Carson,
yes.
and Gardina.
Yes.
Hawthorne,
Yes.
Hermosa is not here, Inglewood is not here, Lawndale,
Yes.
Lamita,
Yes.
Lily is not here, Manhattan Beach,
Yes.
PV Estates,
Yes.
Art PV is not here, Redondo,
Yes.
Rolling Hills Estates,
Yes.
Lawrence not here anymore, and neither of the counties. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's, we've all seen the invoices go around. We have a motion to approve.
Most to approve.
Okay, David?
Carson,
Yes.
Gardina.
Yes.
What does it have to do?
Yes.
Because.
Hermosa is not here.
Yes.
Lamita,
Yes.
Manhattan.
Yes.
PV Estates,
Yes.
Yes.
thank you. Rolling Hills Estates.
She's
Invoice.
hiding.
Invoices?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Say yes.
Just say,
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
okay, let's move on to information items, South Bay Fiber Network.
Jake, any updates on SBFN?
Since the ownership has transferred, we are now meeting with RSG, the new operators, on a weekly check-in basis. That is held every Tuesday. We've been meeting with them consistently before, but now it's penciled in. We are currently looking at initial expansion plans. They're doing a needs/market analysis of current IT fiber assets, as well as doing a cost analysis to see what the pricing rates are within the region. And then exploring funding possibilities for expansion, looking at cities that might be an option for a pilot program. We've had talks with Alex Pinto and IT director for Gardena. We also, from a fiber standpoint, are going to be revamping South Bay Connect, which is a bi-yearly newsletter about fiber and just digital services in the South Bay. I might be reaching out to a few cities to get some stories for that, but that's it for now. And I'll let you guys know as soon as we have an expansion plan and we get going.
Thank you. Senior services, either one of you.
We're still programming for next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be missing it, but I always encourage council people to attend because it's a great way to see what other cities are doing with their senior programs.
Love our seniors.
Yeah, there's this one thing that we might be talking about is the county supervisors have voted to kind of look into through the various committees, like how to develop like lists of seniors and as the fires. Like maybe like a by names list of all the seniors that aren't easily reachable. Because I think that was one of the things that came out of the fires was that there was the seniors that didn't have anyone to help them evacuate. Something we're looking into.
Okay. Travel network, e-bikes,
Anything going on?
And
anything? Yes, no?
Listen to this, the Caltrans gas, we are onboarding. City of Lomita executed their funding agreement to start implementation work, so we are also meeting with city staff, and it's an opportunity to connect with the Public Works Director. You sort of align our work. We will be supporting community engagement for Lomita. Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, Lolita. Anything, let's see, number 8. Any strategic positioning items or announcements or updates? Yes.
So Jake and I met with Circuit, and I think Manhattan Beach, they said that Manhattan Beach was exploring having Circuit operate in their city. But there are these electric vehicles that are shuttles essentially, within an enclosed geography, but they're subsidized by cities and stuff. So I'd be interested to see if, for example, Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach, or Hermosa Beach could end up getting Circuit together to operate in that jurisdiction. Another thing I learned from Waymo is that Waymo has gotten authority from the or seeking authority from the DMV to operate in the South Bay, and then next they'd go to the CPUC. I guess they already had it in Manhattan Beach, but hadn't yet launched there. So they're looking to expand all the way down, I think, Palos Verdes. So just some information. Yeah, they tout that they are safer than human drivers because they use radar, LiDAR, and cameras, and that women feel safer in them than with other drivers. Their drivers don't smell.
Also tend to be more affordable than Ubers.
oh,
But obviously, there's been reports out of Santa Monica that their charging stations are loud and obnoxious for neighbors.
And
Oh, yeah, you're cool with it?
No issue.
I think some of the issue though also in the South Bay if they're to move here is the charging infrastructure. Where would they charge, and also is SCE's network gonna allow them? Yes, so that's a whole other story.
Torrance has 1 mile, 1 charger.
Yeah, so I got one thing. The district attorney is having the initial meeting of the homelessness advisory board on the 30th. So Ronson, if you want to send me anything,
I don't have anything on that.
well, no. I mean, no, they're asking for our input.
Okay, yeah, if you can send it to me, I actually don't get those emails.
Well, no, because I'm actually on the board.
Oh, you are? Oh, okay.
So, yeah, what I was suggesting is, hey, just send me a couple talking points if there's anything that we want, I mean, we talked about it from the care quarter, that kind of thing, right? So if there's anything that we want in collaboration with the district attorney, now is our opportunity to have some dialogue.
Oh, good.
Yeah, stick up for us. Okay.
Dan's got one.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I forgot to add for the local travel network, I just posted an RFQ 50 minutes ago. So we're putting out an RFQ because what we heard from cities, and I think we talked about this before, steering cities lack capacity to do the design planning work to implement the LTN. So we are trying to expedite that process a bit by pre-qualifying some consulting firms that can then either the city's sole source contract with these firms to get that work started, or cities can also do like a limited release an RFP to a selection of a bench. We're building a bench to the bench of consultants. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Okay, that's it.
Quick question.
Go ahead, Cedric.
Just wanted to find out, where can we get some updated information dealing with the World Cup and the 2028 Olympics and how it's going to affect us in the South Bay? Because they came maybe over a year ago.
Yes.
We haven't got any new updated information, and all of us are going to be affected in some point of fashion.
So we'll have David and staff kind of look into that as a directive for you.
Thank
For
you.
all of us, actually.
Yeah, it'd be helpful. I mean, I think Barry said he's been to a couple meetings and whatnot, but unless you're in those meetings, I guess we don't really.
They're not putting out much.
Cedric, are you looking like just transportation stuff or just in general how the two events are gonna happen?
Say that again.
Were you looking just for like transportation kind of efforts or just how the planning?
Just an overall, because it's going to affect us. So just an overall update on how it's going to affect us in the South Bay.
Okay.
And then the other one, I don't know if everyone knows about it, that Thomas Parham, the president of Cal State University Dominguez Hills, has submitted his retirement date of December 31st.
Oh.
So the university will be looking for a new president, as well as, I just found it at Long Beach State as well. So two of our universities are without a president coming up very, very soon.
Which one are you filing for?
Trump.
Neither one.
Okay.
Get money from Trump.
That was it.
Thank you very much. Nice to have you back. Anybody else? Okay, nothing else being said. We will adjourn till our next steering committee, which is 9 June.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
3 minutes to spare too.
And they gave it.
Sorry.
Did you know about that at all? Manhattan Beach engaging circuit or?
Yeah, we've been, yeah, we're kind of re-engaged that,